5 knockouts, 1 submission, 18 decisions. Is Belal Muhammad any good? It seems that the majority of the MMA fan base will only gather behind those with high-quality highlight reels these days. And that's fine, as long as you give credit to patient and disciplined technicians like Belal Muhammad, who's simply fighting to win the game, not to collect style points. And we need to check ourselves and not lose sight of how truly impressive a decision win can really be. Finishes in MMA are spectacular to watch as we get a definitive end to the contest as opposed to just the time expiring. But Belal Muhammad isn't concerned about this at all, with 18 decision wins to his name. He's a real force to be reckoned with, and I'm sure he's capable of getting finishes, but I honestly think he chooses not to for the simple fact of proving he doesn't need one to dominate his fights and prefers the scorecards. He prefers a gritty, grinding fight because he knows that's what he can win the most easily. Outside the cage, he's a funny dude. I like his trash talking and the pranks he pulls. There's many reasons to not be a fan of his, but in reality, people just like to hate on greatness. This is nothing new. This week, we'll take a look at the welterweight title bout headlining UFC 315 in Montreal, and come to a better understanding of the two men involved in what should be a very fun clash of styles. Belal Muhammad, a pressure-first tank with endless cardio and rock-solid fundamentals. Strike accuracy, 44%, strikes landed per minute, 4.3, strikes absorbed per minute, 3.4, a takedown average of 2.2, submission average of 0.1. It's kind of crazy that with all the control time Belal has, he only has a single submission on his record. Takedown accuracy of 39%, strike defense of 57%, takedown defense 89%, and a knockdown average of 0. This is also quite depressing because Belal has good boxing, he just doesn't throw with enough power to put down a welterweight. 0 is akin to what you would see out of a women's strawweight fighter, not a welterweight. And also for the record, he's claiming he will knock JDM out. This is master trolling at work. Average fight time, 14 minutes, 53 seconds. Strengths are superb physicality, master of MMA wrestling. Weaknesses are power punchers and his hilariously low finish rate. Belal used to play more on the outside with his longer striking game, but more recently has polished his boxing and now closes the distance much quicker, but still is hardly a threat on the feet in general. He comes forward with his head constantly bobbing and slipping, ready to shoot a takedown at a moment's notice. He wins by overpowering his opponent with wrestling for the most part, but has a surprisingly high volume on the feet that is a great addition to his game. He's had moments to finish his opponents, but almost prefers not to and just coast against them instead, preserving cardio and draining them rather than trying to get them out of there. Belal has struggled in the past against power strikers like Jeff Neal and Vicente Luque, being clipped on the feet with punches and failing to land his takedowns. He lacks punishing clinch weapons and a low kick game as well. Most of his decisions are unanimous, but going to the judges is never a safe bet, and I advise against it in the UFC, due to a number of brain-dead judge scorecards we see on a near weekly basis. Best performance was against Leon Edwards. Now, Belal completely rebounded from his first encounter with Edwards back in the Apex, where he looked gun-shy and stuck on the feet. But in this title fight, his takedowns came effortlessly. He struck well with Leon as well, and most impressively, he didn't take any damage until about the final minute. Belal looked to be a striker's nightmare in this bout, and before you write up the 3 a.m. excuse, that's not a one-way street. Belal also had to adjust and just straight up did it better. He looked energized and fit to compete for 25 minutes, and he made Leon look like he belongs on the prelims. Most fun, the triggering of Chris Curtis. Belal took on the bald and beardless Chris Curtis on a regional show and outclassed him with wrestling, winning by unanimous decision. This fight can be found on YouTube, filmed on an iPhone from somebody ringside. I will link it in the description as always, and just let me say, Belal Muhammad is one of the only fighters to just completely sun Chris Curtis on the ground like this. He rode out dominant positions with ease and punished Chris for all the early showboating he did in the first round. What makes this fight even better is the drama that took place at the end of it, with Curtis having one of his first mental breaks. It's interesting to see that Chris Curtis hasn't changed. Even back on regional shows, he still seems to think that punches are the only things that you're allowed to exchange in an MMA fight. Belal gave him a reality check, and won over the crowd. but then slipped and lost all his aura in the process. Notable wins: Leon Edwards. It would be nice if one day we could see an Edwards rematch, because he did have short bursts of success and the two clearly don't like each other. The build-up was fun, the fight was a little dull, but maybe one day Leon can climb his way back up, and I'm not writing him off just yet. Sean Brady. Now, the beating that Belal put on Brady is aging better and better by the day. Sean failed his 5 takedown attempts and Belal ramped up his volume, which we had never really seen before. Brady is on his own run right now and looks fairly unbeatable against certain opponents, so Belal deserves a ton of credit for getting this one. Even if it was a bit of an early standing TKO and Brady may have quit on himself, this was impressive. Belal's last defeat came at the hands of Steel. He spent a lot of energy trying to get Jeff Neal down, but sort of ran into a brick wall in this one. Jeff Neal punished him with heavy straight punches, and Belal didn't have the striking ability he does now to keep up with him. He was even bloodied up and dropped throughout the fight. But both of their careers would take drastically different paths, so Belal clearly learned from this one and leveled up tremendously, whereas Neal has struggled to really punch himself into the top 5. I think if he didn't take this L to Neal, he probably would lose to JDM, just because he needed to really get a taste of what it's like to lose to a boxer in order to level up and grow. Because now he knows, okay, this is what I'm in for if I can't get my takedowns, and this is what my stand-up's like. And if we go even farther back, we come to the Luque fight. Vicente Luque check-hooked Belal out cold as he rushed into the pocket. It's a beautiful knockout, and Belal was slept out cold with the follow-up shots. He did avenge this loss years later, so he did wipe away somewhat of this career blemish, but we cannot forget this moving forward. Belal Muhammad is a hard-working welterweight that grinded for years, and he eventually reached gold through gritty decision victories. He's proven to be championship level, whether you like it or not. But these next few title defenses of his will really show if he gets to enter the GOAT conversation. Belal Muhammad is an A-tier mixed martial artist. I agree he's beyond dull in the cage, but I'd be a fool to ignore his body of work. As always, thank you guys for watching. Drop your favorite Bully B moment down below. And who do you think wins, Bully B or JDM? MMA makes no fucking sense, but I'm out here trying to put it all together. Until next time.